Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dominic Sater-Romer, and by the caster laws, I have defeated Phreak in caster combat, and I hereby claim this desk as my own.
Yes, that is actually caster law. It's in JAT 315. Look it up.
It is indeed.
Right
this is Zirene, by the way.
Yeah, right.
He was here.
In case you didn't know it, yeah, it's right there next to Riv 420. So get your caster notebooks out. Take notes.
Indeed. Let's get ready for our next match. Team Liquid Academy versus NME. NME took game number 1 over TLA in decisive fashion, claiming the Nexus in just 27 minutes.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they needed, because with their shot at playoffs in the balance, NME drafted their composition with late game insurance in mind, but despite having a weaker early game comp, NME was able to find an early snowball lead, and their advantage was taken at a 23-minute Baron. And of course, that game did come to a climactic finish with this team fight in the mid lane just minutes later.
Yeah, with this win, here's actually that team fight you can see, and it looks chaotic, but the big guys you want to look for are Wolfie in the back.
Yeah, Wolfie had his Zirene banned out, so he goes after Vel'Koz. But look at this, Otter just, oh wait, blah, 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 blah. And welcome to 6.3 Kog'Maw, level 13, W and E maxed. He's able to just peel and then pick up and clean up this fight. So it ended up being that 27-minute game right after that 26-minute team fight.
Yeah, Ginsu's Rage Blade is just so strong. Not to mention the Runan's Hurricane again. But with this win, NME are still in the running for a playoff spot, but they still have a big challenge ahead of them.
Yeah, they do. NME, they lost to the top 2 teams and are now scrapping with the teams that are in the bottom and ahead of them in the standings, actually. So these games are must-win for them. They won this first one, so they aren't really in threat of actually being out of playoffs this week. So they've secured not going out of the playoffs this week just yet. But if they do go 2-0 over TLA, they actually bump TLA down to number 5, and they go up to number 4. So just talking a little bit more about this game. Before that, though, last week we did see Wolfie get his go-to Xerath, but teams were learning how to play around it more and more. So now he didn't have the same type of impact last week. He does have that Vel'Koz up his sleeve, and his Vel'Koz is actually pretty sick. I think there was one game that he played it, and they didn't win it, but it was still really good. He was 3-3-7 in a losing game, and that was up against Apex, where they were actually able to push Apex very far. We've been seeing that team that's already secured playoffs is incredible in Challenger.
And the fact that they were able to push back against them bodes well. Meanwhile, Team Liquid Academy are coming off of their second back-to-back 0-2 week. They're still in a running for their playoff spot, but after this loss in game number 1, they are 0-5 in their past 5 games.
Yeah, and that's actually very demoralizing for them, because TLA, they have not won a game without Dominate, Dardoch, or Matt. So the team is suffering from a lack of in-game leadership and shot calling. And we talk about shot calling, but it really is in-game leadership, right? It may not be that person who's saying, hey, go Dragon, hey, go Baron, because there will be that person on the team. But it's the leadership. It's the people who are going to unite them, tell them, ask them, what's the next thing that we can do? And so Team Liquid Academy, having Dardoch and Matt ripped from the lineups, actually is hurting them a lot, because they look like a contender for first place in Challenger coming in with those strong shot callers in macro play. And I know that LCS teams, were talking to me about it, how TLA looked like they were going to be a top 4 LCS squad. They were incredibly good. But now they look like a shell of their former selves without those voices on the lineup.
Yeah, tricky situation, but let's get into the champion select after a quick look at the lineups. On the blue side, it's Team Liquid Academy. Zig in the top lane, their new jungler Acadian. Mid is going to be Young Bin with AD carry Fabi and their support, Smoothie.
And on the red side, it's NME, who they will not be out of playoffs just yet. In the top lane, it's the Singed Master, IKennyU. In the jungle, it's obvious. It's the Xerath man and the Vel'Koz in the mid lane, Wolfie. And AD carry, it's Otter with support backing him up. It's Trance.
And that's not the first time that we've seen IKennyU take Singed.
Yes.
The fact that he's content to just split push the entire game. He only grouped up with his team to help them secure Baron and then take that fight that you saw in the replay. So it's good that he's comfortable with that.
Yeah, he stole Baron a couple weeks ago with Singed poison.
Yeah.
So he's been pretty insane on that Singed. It's been pretty funny to watch him. But now the Zerat portal is actually something we're seeing. Actually, apparently it's pronounced like Zerat portal. It's like a bee telling you shh, shh, Zerat. According to Reina. Yes.
Okay, well, we are now entering picks and bans for game number 2.
Person who made the item, sorry.
Team Liquid Academy looking for their first win In the past 5 games, Vel'Koz and Xerath banned away from Wolfie.
Yeah.
With Smoothie's Bard taken off the board.
Everybody just bans Wolfie. You throw some things at his champion pool, they pretty much all are going to accomplish the same thing. I know that up his sleeve, though, Wolfie still has Lux available to him. He still has Varus available to him, and Syndra's been banned against him a couple times, so I'm a little curious about that one. So I know there's 3 champions up there that he still plays, but the Vel'Koz damage and as well as the Xerath damage and allowing him to scale, he can really take over games.
Certainly can. Doing a significant amount of his team's damage in the previous game. Bans on the other side. Nidalee, Rek'Sai, and Kalista. Zig, though, he's going to first lock Alistar for Smoothie.
Take Kog'Maw. You gotta take Kog'Maw. I think Kog'Maw is so powerful on 6.3 that maybe you last pick him. I'm not sure, but I think that Kog'Maw is just such a great power pick. Picking him early can be very risky, but you gotta do it. You gotta do it. There you go.
Yeah, Kog'Maw locked in once again for Otter. Very convincing performance in game number 1. Acadian did go Rengar to try to specifically pick on Otter's Kog'Maw, but he was unsuccessful.
Yeah, Acadian, he was pretty much a Rengar one-trick for a while. I don't really want to call him a one-trick, but I know that Rengar is his favorite champion, and Rengar's taken some nerfs over time. So, not as effective as it was before. We are going to see him play Gragas, though, which I think is a very good pick now. I think that Gragas, Runic Echoes, Strength of Ages, and then go tank from there. You have early game damage, you have extra wave clear in the mid game with your barrels, and the buff to his barrels and W are actually very substantial. So 6.3 was very kind to this guy.
250 radius now. We'll see how that's going to do. Corki picked up. Could be going to Youngbin in the mid lane. He has played it before, went 5-7-9 in one game, and then 0-5-1 in another.
Yep.
Very strong champion.
Oh, I see no Lulu ban. Enemy should take Lulu here. You should take Lulu Kog'Maw. Like, 500%. I don't care if, like, Wolfie doesn't play it. Like, but give it to Kenny. I know Kenny plays that thing.
10 seconds left. We'll see if they go for it. It's Braum and Lulu.
There you go.
Another Protect the Kog'Maw composition out of Enemy.
I mean, Otter has been one of the most dependable members on this team. Of course, out of everybody on this team, he has had the most experience in the LCS, the professional scene. So Otter, why not put all the eggs in that basket? Protect the Otter.
Yeah. Protect the Otter basket. Well, they've got a Wolf and they've got an Otter. Isn't it obvious?
Yeah, it's obvious.
The answers from Team Liquid Academy, though, it's going to be Lucian for Fabi. And Youngbin, he's already on that Corki.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be in his ear.
Yeah, we're looking for a top lane pick here, and you have to pick it blind for the most part, or something that does okay into Lulu. So this is where Team Liquid Academy are going, well, how much Lulu does Wolfie play? And is that where this pick is going to end up? Because if I pick something that's not good into Lulu, they're just going to give it to Kenny, and then they're going to pick a poke champion into my Corki top, or Corki mid.
Looks like it might be Gangplank. No, Zig goes back to the classic Nautilus. Played it time and again. See if he can turn it into a win this time.
Yeah, Zig has actually played Nautilus their last 2 games, the ones that they played against TDK. Mixed success on it. One game he was 0-6, and then the other one he was 3-2-5. So it's been a rough road for the Nautilus top, but Zig, he's going to try to make it work here, but it's not the same type of TLA that he was used to. He was used to having Dardoch, another damage dealer in the jungle. They've gone with Acadian here, who is a damage-dealing jungler. Usually, he likes to actually jump in and get the damage and actually be a threat on his team. Gragas, not so much of that threat on this composition. So now it's really Youngbin, Fabi, the 2 of the other guys who are residents of this team and haven't been swapped out in any way, shape, or form. They're looking for the damage from these 2. See what happens here. See if Zig's pick is actually going to pay off and if he can peel for these guys.
Yeah, final pickup for Enemy, though. Varus, there's that poke you were talking about for Wolfie.
Yep, of course, you have mixed damage now from both of your AD carries. You have Wolfie with the % HP from his passive, the Blighted Quiver, and then you also have just the physical damage poke. And since these are rather squishy members here with the Corki and the Lucian, your poke is going to stick. And then you're going to have Kog'Maw poke raining down from above. It's going to be very interesting for Liquid Academy to deal with the squad of Enemy, especially since now they have Braum as well. I think, and also Braum Kog'Maw. All right, so I was telling telling a couple people to play this combination because the Q lands and then Kog'Maw goes blah, 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 and then he's instantly stunned.
Instant stun, under a second.
It's pretty crazy.
Well, let us know who you think has got the edge in this game. Tweet at LOL Esports with either hashtag TLA win or hashtag NME win. And we'll look at those votes a little bit later on. NME fighting for that playoff spot. We'll see if they can pull it together. They're putting all their eggs in the Otter basket this time.
Yeah.
Once again.
If they win, they actually bump themselves up to 4 points in NME's favor. And that leaves Liquid Academy at 3. And so Liquid Academy get bumped down to 5th, and they're out of playoffs until next week where they can try to get themselves back in. But then NME are in at that point. That becomes a crazy situation because this is a team that people thought were going to make playoffs. They're going to stomp Challenger, TLA, no question with the lineup that they had. Now,
it's completely flipped. TLA coming into this split expecting great things.
They just lost a game to the 6th place team in Challenger.
Not very great.
No, it's not great at all. The synergy has been rather a big issue for the TLA squad, but of course, with the 10-man roster of the main Liquid squad, this is a team that's getting a lot of experience playing lane swaps, competitive, and stuff like that. And the question is always, is this just going to be a squad that's going to have members pulled up from it to go into Liquid, right? It's truly the academy. Do you get promoted? Do you graduate?
Minions have spawned.
We'll see if Liquid can graduate in this, as defensive lines are assumed all across the map. Both junglers look to start on the top side. Youngbin! He's been struck by an arrow by Wolfie's Cupid. It is just a few days after Valentine's, so still in that post-holiday spirit.
Don't
I
remind
did
me.
see that he was on the Deathfire not grab. Touch. It's not the full hand, it's just the one finger.
Just the touch.
Harassing that out as Otter looks to be starting with a camp of his own with some assistance from Trance. And Babby and Smoothie doing the same before they head down to lane.
Yeah, Kog'Maw with the changes to his W where the Q attack speed is now on the W. All you have to do is put points into W and points into E. And it's what actually a lot of Kog'Maws did before. I talked with Phreak about it where he's talking about the math where you want to put at least 1 point into Q before. Get that attack speed, have another spell for your Trinity Force, which used to be the build. But whenever I would watch Imp and I would watch Deft play it, they would just put so much stock in the percent slow of the E that it wasn't worth putting a point into the Q for them, just from a gameplay perspective. Because you really can't put a whole lot of value on movement speed slows, right? There's no real gold kind of value you can put on it.
No monetary.
Yeah, they just love it, though. They love that because that's all Kog'Maw needs. Damage and being able to actually slow people and stay alive.
A way to keep people away from you. Well, last game, it was Trance who kept Otter alive for a majority of the game.
Now it's everyone.
1-8. But yes, this time around, it is everyone. It is a group effort. Enemy go from having a late game insurance team to specifically, don't kill our 80 carry and we'll beat you.
Yeah, don't kill them.
So we'll see if Liquid can put some pressure on that. Obvious takes the Scuttle Crab as he clears out a few camps of his own.
And you always have to worry about this too because it's double AD carry. It's double marksman. You're going to have peel from the Lulu. You're going to have a slow zone from the Kog'Maw and the Braum. That reaching them is difficult. You have to displace them with a Gragas Barrel, so a lot of the execution is onto Acadian. I think they saw him. I think he walked a little too far forward that the minion that's in these casters right here by Babby actually spotted him out. So that hero minion, he goes down, but he deserves a badge. Medal of Honor.
A bit antsy. Acadian not quite able to pull that gank off. He spots now that the Scuttle has been taken while Zig and Kenny continue to trade it out in the top lane. Glitter Lance for Kenny gets just a bit of damage, but Zig has Corrupting Potion, so he's going to heal himself up. And everyone is taking their time.
Yeah, I think that scaling just favors enemies' composition extraordinarily well. Oh yeah, also you're going to have a slow zone from Wolfie, so there's 3 people who can make a slow zone on this composition on enemy side. And he's also got a root. So reaching this Kog'Maw is going to be a chore, and even when you reach him, Kog'Maw doesn't need to run from you anymore. The Lulu just gives him shields, gives him ultimate. Trance will stand in front of him with shield up, and then he won't have to move. He will just sit there and destroy you.
Yeah, in fact, I think he prefers if you run at him.
Yes. Yeah. There's actually a stark difference between when the W is on and when it isn't on. So you got to play around that cooldown. But not everybody sees it because it's actually the visual indicator for it isn't really a huge dead giveaway if you don't play against too many Kog'Maws.
Liquid can read that as Otter continues to farm it up.
Now he's green. So now you get to see it a little bit. It's just like a green aura around him on that skin.
Trying to make it easy for Liquid. Hey, look at me. Kill me when I'm green. Green means go.
Oh no, green means go away.
Green means get out of here. It's a toxic green. Wolfie on the recall is going to pick up a tier and start stacking as well. So it is the late, slow build that we're expecting out of NME.
Yeah, I really didn't expect anything different from Wolfie in that regard. He loves to poke, so why not have more mana to poke? I mean, basically, when looking for a champion to play, Wolfie goes, can it poke? All right, it's my main. It's like, he's a Vel'Koz, Varus, Lux, Xerath, main. Everything that can poke.
I'm pretty sure that's all of them.
Maybe he'll play a Nidalee game, but it's so unreliable. You know, the cooldown on Nidalee Spear, a little bit too long for his taste.
Yeah, that's half of the kit that he's never going to use. What's this R button for?
Yeah.
Can I use it to level up my spear? Smoothie, though,
anyway,
taking some damage as Otter burns him down. Otter is the target. Remember, they're trying to keep him alive. He gets first blood. Acadian, a little bit slow to the draw, is not going to make it there in time. Can they get the stun off? An auto attack is going to get some more damage across, but
you got to watch out a little bit there. Yeah, as soon as Trance just gets that auto, Kog'Maw immediately makes that stun go off, and you saw what happened to Smoothie. Smoothie blew Flash and Ignite, and this is just the miscommunication that we're seeing from TLA. They are actually in threat of becoming the 5th place team and NME taking their playoff spot. TLA, there's so much pressure in this match. It's actually insane. The way their roster has been shaken up every week, the way that they haven't synergized, they're looking desperately for some type of voice. And in a moment where they need a voice, they need somebody to help lead them around. They find themselves down 1,000 gold at 7 minutes in a game that could decide playoffs for them.
And first blood on the worst person possible on that Kog'Maw. He's already got a pickaxe and a blasting.
You're just piling it on. There's just so many things right now that TLA wish weren't happening.
Maybe they work better under pressure. Kind of like a surgeon. Needs the pressure to be there.
I can always rely on you to look at the bright side.
Oh, speaking of pressure, Wolfie seems to be under some right now. Flash heal is used. They're continuing to dive. Youngbin gets the kill. Zig is going to take a few turret hits. Obvious tries to chase, gets snared. That's Liquid getting their first kill.
Yep. Youngbin picks up that kill for himself. So kill in the mid lane here on that Corki. A little bit of an advantage. They had to bring Zig down from the top lane, so it was a good roam. And you can see NME, they're in this 6th place spot for a reason. They've had some problems with communication. And it's a relatively new roster. Wolfie had to jump in pretty much right after Frostbite got knocked out of the qualifiers by TLA. So Wolfie's now playing against a team that knocked him out.
Very young roster for NME. You gotta wonder if that's a little bit of a grudge from Wolfie. Ah, you knocked out my team. Now I'm with these guys.
Well, sometimes it's a grudge, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you sit there and go, yeah, thanks. Now I'm on this team. I mean, it happened with CLG and Pobelter, right? Pobelter sits there going, yeah, thanks.
Uh-oh, Youngbin has the package. Wolfie gets knocked out. It's going to be package barrel. He's going the wrong way.
Yep.
Should be going down. Might be trying to feed the kill over to Acadian, but Youngbin is going to secure it. Trance is going to take a full culling, however. Dig uses ultimate already. Otter gets poked out. He's got to pick the right target. Fabi takes one more hit, but Liquid disengage.
Yeah, new Kog'Maw. It's a little disingenuous to call him a hyper carry with a weak early game. Now he's just a hyper carry, and his early game is actually not as punishable as it was before, especially if you put him alongside a Braum or a Janna. He's very, very strong.
Careful, he's green right now. That means go away. Fabi,
go.
Following the instructions.
Yeah, I definitely think that Kog'Maw is a force to be reckoned with at pretty much all stages of the game, especially when he got this kill. So now his curve to getting Rage Blade is much easier, because normally when you're going after Rage Blade, you sit there going, ugh, I have to buy a Blasting Wand. Okay, hopefully I don't get killed 3 times while I'm sitting on Blasting Wand. This was really well set up. Barrel back, and then the package right in the line to push him even further back. And there's no way he can run over that, because it's a 90% slow, and you're going to die as you're walking over. They can pretty much dance at that point as you're just walking over the hot coals.
quite the best situation for Wolfie, giving up his team's first 2 deaths in this set.
We've actually seen that a lot, is people camp Wolfie. They ban him and then they camp him. That is so mean.
The replacement mid laner. He is the freshest person to join the enemy roster.
God, Wolfie just takes a beating. Even when his team was trying to qualify back when he was on Frostbite, he would sit there and it would be like, okay, they threw bans at me. I'm getting camped. And then, yeah, I guess I'm still doing well when the rest of my team is losing.
Despite the camp.
Wolfie has been through a lot. He's seen some things, like many bans.
It's certainly been a journey for him.
He probably has the most targeted mid lane bans out of anybody in the NACS.
Wolfie still playing rather well, down 20 CS, however.
He actually might have the most targeted bans. I think that maybe Seraph can test him a tiny bit, just because people will 3-ban top laners and it's worth it because you're like, oh, I don't want to play against Gangplank anyway, or Graves. So, but banning Xerath and banning like Syndra and just banning Vel'Koz, like when did you think you were gonna see these bans in 6.3?
Targeted bans, trying to shut Wolfie down. TLA.
Hashtag Wolfie things.
And instead of focusing on Otter this game, focused on shutting down Wolfie. However, Cadian might be trying to prove me wrong. There's a quick flash.
Oh, go home, Cadian, you're drunk.
Going to take a lot of damage. There's a teleport coming in from the far side. Obvious collapsing as well. Kenny Yu has joined. What's the target they're looking for? Kenny is brought low. He's ignited. He goes down to Smoothie in the long run. Trance is going to end up dying to get the rest of his team out. That's 2 members dead, and Liquid turn it around.
Yeah, they do, and they end up with 2 kills. Now Liquid with a gold advantage. Acadian, takes an arrow, and Wolfie now has blue buff. So he'll start throwing in some poke heroes. He'll start getting some damage as they're doing Dragon. I don't know if it'll ever be enough to actually poke them out of it. But no, they're going to stop. They're just going to go back to pushing minion waves here and getting farm onto Otter. That just seems to be the main goal of the squad.
Dragon going to go for a quick knockback before being secured by Liquid. That is the first one. Youngbin, might take some damage from Wolfie, but doesn't pull the aggression trigger on Youngbin.
Whittle him down and then put him in kill range, and that's when you ulti him. But he does have cleanse, so Acadian, flash body slam only hits Trance, and then the barrel backwards doesn't even hit Trance. And Trance put his ultimate up because it will actually stop the barrel from going any further. Instant stun onto Smoothie, he ulties, but Kenny came through, and Kenny just gets comboed. Kenny got body slammed, he got knocked up by Zig's ultimate, the depth charge, and then he had to flash away with Ignite on him. And I think he got rooted as well from an auto attack from Nautilus. So just CC chain there onto Kenny. Couldn't really do too much, and that was just a bad spot for him to TP to.
Quite unfortunate. Now 4-1 in favor of Liquid, as they're trying to pry that playoff spot back into their own hands. They need this win here.
Yeah, that's actually what is happening here, is TLA are trying to pull the playoff spot back into their favor, and NME are trying to take it from them.
Yeah, it's like tug of war.
Yeah.
But with the playoff spot. We'll see if it is going to yield results for Liquid or if NME are the ones with the stronger biceps. Obvious. He's going to snag that. A little bit of BM ward just to pop that razor sharp buff. Otter takes a knockup.
Doesn't take any damage though from the bot lane because he's able to get the shield up. Trance protects him.
Zig is like, yes, I made it through laning phase. There's nothing you can do now.
I have an Aegis.
To be fair, he is down about 15 CS. Aegis?
Yeah.
Aegis? Sounds like my grandmother.
So I'm actually quite big on pronunciation.
Yes.
I know, for instance, like people say like mana. Why do I say mana? Well, it is technically mana.
Mana.
And then mana
it just sounds long now. Yeah.
Mana is the bread, and it has 2 ends. So it's a different thing. Whereas mana is the mystical force that you see and people use to cast spells. And it's Aegis, but there are actually multiple pronunciations of it. It's just like it's Ether Wisp.
Huh.
And stuff like that.
Oh, because it is the hard E sound.
The AE makes an E sound.
He's got the unbreakable will, turns onto Trance. He's split from the team. Flash gets him away, but he doesn't quite have the escape. Babby nets that one.
There's Runic Echoes for Acadian as well. You can see, I love this on Gragas. I think that with Strength of Ages in its current state, you don't have to go Cinnabar Hulk. You get pretty much naturally tanky and take care of your early game tankiness with just that mastery. Then you get your offensive jungle item, and you're fine. And then you go tank from there.
Solid play out of Liquid. That Ether Whips did turn into that Runic Echoes. Ether Wisp. Ether Wisp. It sounds like it should be a soft E.
Ether Wisp. You don't have to go like E.
Because it's like
Ether Wisp.
Aeon Flux. A-E-O-N. But I guess that's also a proper noun. It's a name.
Yeah, there's also another vowel right afterwards. So vowels always change the sounds of other vowels when they follow.
It's aioli. Then again, that's also not
What?
A-E.
But of course, there are multiple pronunciations, and at the end of the day, pronouncing a word is all about the language and getting your point across. If people understand that when I say mana, I mean the blue bar underneath people's names, then I've done my job.
You're not even going to say it the other way, are you? It just, I tried it, I don't, it just
Mana
feels
just
weird.
sounds
Mana?
so harsh.
Yeah.
Mana. It's like,
It's very nasal.
mana.
Oh, man.
I'm out of mana. Sorry. But then the people will say like, oh, mana sounds very pretentious, right? It's like, oh, mana.
Oh, man. I feel like we're going back to
I like half
Cinnabon.
Tarek that. Anyway,
Oh, boy.
sitting on the sidelines there, Youngbin.
He's got his package ready.
Yep.
Looking for a delivery. Oh, it wears off.
Oh,
Youngman was like,
bunny hop.
I just had it. I just didn't have the timer. He tried for it.
Oh, fun fact, something that I learned the other day when I was playing with a Corki. When you're playing with a Corki and you know the ultimate cooldown timer, little circle that you see on their portrait above your minimap, where it's like, oh, Malphite ulti's up when this circle actually completes, right? And you're like, ah, now he has Unstoppable Force. With Corki, it's not actually his ultimate because it's such a low cooldown. It's his package cooldown.
Oh, interesting. Whoa, obvious. It's taken for a ride. He's going to flash.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
the
what?
knockback follows him, however. Trance tries to go for the knockup, dodges back to Wolfie. Youngbin dives forward for the Ignite tick. Trance goes down along with the mid-tier 1. And Liquid are breaking this game wide open.
Yeah, and that's going to be a top turret going down, though, so a little bit of gold comes back into the hands of enemy. But, of course, double kill, it goes over to Smoothie, though. Smoothie's 3, 1, and 2, and you really would want that on pretty much anybody else. Your tanks get tankier, your Alistar's pretty much naturally tanky already, but he does have distortion now. So the flash, pulverize, very easy to pull off. Boom, this is great, because it's like, oh, where do I go? Oh, wait.
Oh. Trance gets caught in it, too. He brought it to Trance.
The depth charge just kept going. The travel time of that, it doesn't disappear until it goes right underneath Elisa's rappel.
Until it would hit.
And he just moved so fast back and forth with the rappel and the flash. He was too good. He was too fast. Sometimes you need to just take a breath, stay in the rappel for a second. But of course, would Acadian have repositioned to a point that flashing away would have still been viable? Maybe, maybe not. But still, it followed him.
The world may never
Unlucky.
know. Very. So Youngbin has his... He's got his rockets now. And it was just red, so it was a big one. So it was his rockets.
Oh, in Spectator, it's different. In Spectator, you see the rocket cooldown. In game, it's actually the package
You see
cooldown.
the package cooldown.
So you'll see that 5-minute package cooldown.
Interesting.
So you'll always know when a Corki's package is almost up.
If you have an eye on it.
Pro tip.
Enemy are going to trade a tier 1 turret and look for yet another. Otter, though, has to back up to dodge some of the damage that turret is doing. And the tier 2 looks to be claimed by enemy. No answer yet from Team Liquid. They might just collapse. Dragon has spawned. Enemy are trying to snag that as well. Greedy play, but they get away with it.
Yep, they get away with it, though they do have to protect this mid lane turret. It is going to be Youngbin getting there very early on. He has blue buff. He can just spam spells, and he has Trinity Force. Some damage to this turret, not an immense amount, though. But you always have to be wary, because if this happens multiple times, that Trinity Force is definitely going to take over.
Sheen so very strong on that Corki as he whittles down the turret.
Oh, Banner Command is used somewhere. Find that minion.
Zig is bottom right now. He's probably escorting that minion. He's been doing it for a while with that wave, and... Camera's not there yet. The minions, they're a little slower. They take their time.
Yeah.
You can't rush minions.
Yeah, especially when he's got a banner. He has to... There he goes.
There it is.
I wish he would just hold the banner.
Big old flag.
Give him the banner command, put it in his hands for a bit. Acadian, though, he's caught.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage. Obvious. Has to go up. This time he's not going to take the double knockup. Turret gets chunked down to half as Fabi zones them away, while Rift Herald consumes himself. Whoa.
Man, now that I think about it, it's just the Rift Herald is a deformed scuttle crab, and
It's such a sad story.
he just had enough of it. He was around for 20 minutes, nobody paid attention to him, and
He just
he was like, I'm just done.
Is Baron Nashor actually that scuttle crab after 20 minutes?
Maybe.
This
maybe
is my final form.
Maybe he goes into the void and then he heralds the Baron in. And he needs 15 seconds to do it, so don't bug him.
Yeah, you guys were talking about this earlier. What is the Herald herald? I think he's heralding
Baron.
himself.
He's heralding the Baron.
He goes into the void and becomes the Baron of Nashor.
So is Baron Nashor, is he the Baron of Nashor? Or is he just Baron Nashor? His name is Nashor.
That's like if your first name was Duke.
Who made him the Baron?
Well, the original Baron was like a feared monster. And apparently the Baron that's on Summoner's Rift is a weak facsimile.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Like one-tenth the power of the original Baron. That's why like his eye is scarred and he's not recovered or anything.
Oh.
Apparently the original Baron is like 20 level 18 champions rolled into one.
What about a Cho'Gath, though? Because Cho'Gath devours worlds.
He does, which I think is disingenuous to how he plays as a champion, because he can only eat up to 6.
Well,
His stomach is so big.
The thing is that he's actually made smaller and weaker so that he can compete in the fields of justice. And that's why when you select Cho'Gath, he says, you wish the world you know to end, because every time you pick him, you risk him getting
overwhelming.
unleashed
Yes.
and devouring your world.
So I guess to follow that analogy,
I made that up, though.
Yeah, to follow.
I'm writing my fanfics.
The comparison then is that Baron is like Cho'Gath. Sure, Cho'Gath can devour worlds, but in our game he's a little tiny.
Yeah, but our game's in the Lord as well, but there's the package!
Oh, Trant's taking a lot of damage. He's destroyed. Otter's trying to shred through, but he just doesn't have enough damage quite yet. Kenny goes in. Otter's going to take and knock up. The hook finds him as well. He's snared. Can they keep him alive? They've already lost the tier 2. TLA, don't get too greedy.
Yeah, enemy does keep Otter alive, though. They use the Lulu ultimate as well as the heal from Otter as hand flash. So there's a lot spent there just so more members don't go down.
Dangerous game for Team Liquid. They have to take what they can without overstaying their welcome and being punished by that Kog'Maw. He tried to do some good damage in the last fight, but he found Smoothie, who just reduced a significant portion of it.
Yeah, Smoothie negating it. I actually like this buy from Smoothie where he has the distortion boots early. We'll talk about that in a second. Acadian, body slam flash in, Youngbin sections off. They're mostly targeting Otter, but the fact they get Trance is still good for TLA. They'll take that, Smoothie ultimate, make sure he doesn't get rooted. Otter's hooked up, and then they use so much to try and keep him alive. But that's still that turret going down. And now TLA, despite them being down in the early game, they now have an advantage for themselves, about 3,000 gold. So now the pressure's on enemy, because if enemy actually lose this game, they only go up to 2 points, and then they're tied for 5th place. Still not in playoffs. And then they would have to 2-0. And TLA would have to 0-2 next week in order to even contest this spot. And they would also hope that there's no 2-0 for Dream Team.
Yes, because Dream Team is also in contention, currently tied.
Well, they have 2 points right now to enemies 1. So yeah, they are tied. They just haven't played their games today yet. Yes, you're right.
With all of that pressure riding on Otter. We'll see if he can pull it together.
To touch back on what Phreak was talking about before. Oh,
you're good.
Okay. Touch back on what Phreak was talking about before, and he asked me about Fervor of Battle. Fervor of Battle is an on-hit effect, and Runaan's applies on-hit.
So every single auto attack is getting a bonus 300 damage.
Yeah, basically what it says is, well, it gets a bonus 100, and then, yeah. But Smoothie, he's going to go in with the flash pull.
The trigger. Kenny is the target. Kenny goes down. Obvious tries to answer with another. He can't quite find it, has to jump away. Otter finally joins up with the rest of his team, but they've already got the kill. Oh! Arrow finds one. Wolfie with the flash is going to net it.
Still chasing, still has the poke. And he's just going to clear waves. They might be able to take this tier 1 turret. We'll see, though. There's a lot of poke here from Youngbin. He may be able to clear this mini wave out. No problem. But
certainly are.
Going back to the Smoothie play there just now, I love distortion boots early on Alistar because when we nerfed the W, the headbutt, in terms of how fast it travels, the speed, it became much easier to react to. And if it doesn't make contact, if somebody Lucianese away or slides away from it, then it doesn't actually knock them back. It has to make contact with them. It's like Pantheon W in order to actually knock them back. So now, people think it's not as good in mobility. You max Q, you max E second, and you actually get distortion so you can flash pulverize, which is much more reliable and harder to react to because it gave people more reaction time with the headbutt nerfs.
Smoothie playing well. Currently involved in 7 of his team's 9 kills, along with Acadian and Fabi. We can see that trio has been doing a lot of work for Liquid this game. Trying to upset that Otter basket with all of enemy's eggs.
Crack him open. Wolfie has decent amount of CDR now. Muramana completed. Giant Killer in his inventory. It'll actually work against the Corki too, because the Corki has Trinity Force. Zizarot Portal and Banner of Command, top lane for Zig. Of course, Zizarot Portal still enabled on Tournament Realm, so able to play with that. Acadian, decent amount of damage on him though.
Trance might be caught. He hops over the wall. Acadian is getting burned down, but Otter is going to get the execution.
Big burst of damage there. Braum tagged him, and then there's the stun, and then Kenny gave Otter picks. So immediately, lots of damage from Otter.
There's a lot of poke coming out of the Liquid squad. They zoned enemy away from the turret with that wave, but there's another one about to crash. Meanwhile, that portal is doing some work in the bottom lane, pressuring the tier 2. They might take this turret, but lose another in response to the off-map pressure of Zig.
Yeah, Zizarot Portal is really hard to deal with, and Banner of Command was also used around the same time, so that's actually that turret going down. Tier 2 in the bot lane is gone.
Enemy are trying to answer by putting more pressure in the mid lane. Otter cheating forward, but he has to be careful with Zig. A single hook could be the end of their chances. Wolfie is the target, though. Doesn't have flash. He gets caught out and goes down to Youngbin, and Trance forced to use the ultimate to disengage.
Yeah, as well as his flash to get out of there. Now, TLA, they may have Baron in their sights now with Wolfie down, so that's the poke, the large source of poke that could hit them during the Baron and actually weaken them enough so that they would be dissuaded from doing it. But now, Smoothie, he almost has his flash pull up again. Not gonna have it for this, but oh, speed of flashes.
They're looking for it. Otter in the front once again. He's got to dodge the hook.
Missed.
Number 1 is going to miss. Trance body blocking. Smoothie gets brought low. Otter is dropped. They might not have enough damage. Enemy are going to go down here. That's 3 members gone. The sole survivor, Obvious, and Liquid are back on the Baron.
And Otter had flash too, and he wasn't able to use it. Just locked up there and knocked up as well. Obvious going for a steal here. He has flash. He has to use it now.
He gets into the pit. Does he have
they're
enough
gonna
help?
stop damage.
But they're waiting. They're taking a lot of damage. He gets a kill. Is he going to look for yet another? No, he's not. But 1 is better than nothing.
It was good by Smoothie to put pressure on him, because what you do at that point is you make sure that the Alistar is doing the combo while you're taking it down into smite range. So well played there by Smoothie, and there was communication between him and TLA on what his intent was. I'm going to stop him from coming in. I'm going to put pressure on him. He flashes in, and then he has to repel afterwards, and they were able to wait that time. Knocks Kenny away. Otter. Now it's Jugger Kog'Maw. Boom. Stands there. Boop, 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 boop. There's the knock-up from Smoothie. Knocked up again from Acadian. No flash used. Might have actually just come up right there too. I was looking at it in the bottom corner. Because when I saw it right as he died, it was up. So maybe it was just a second away.
Quite unfortunate for Enemy, not able to survive that engage. 29 minutes in, Jugger Kog'Maw is not fully online yet, or at least not quite able to stay alive long enough.
He's got Blade of the Rune King now, so he'll be able to actually deal a decent amount of damage to these tanks and heal himself. The Rune Ants also applying on-hit effects will help. A lot of damage to be dealt here with these on-hit Kog'Maw effects. I mean, it's still not TLA's game just yet, because enemy Kog'Maw, Kog'Maw is so scary on this patch. If you can keep him alive for 6 seconds, you can win the game.
Otter playing a very dangerous game. He's defending the inhibitor from Zig, who's going to get it regardless. While the rest of Liquid are in the mid lane, they take one tier 2 turret, and with Baron continue to pressure forward. Cocoon finds Youngbin, he's going to cleanse as the snare finds Smoothie in addition. Youngbin's taking some additional damage. Otter in the front once again has got to be careful.
God, these portals are so difficult to deal with. You can see the portal in the bottom right-hand corner on your map. Man, they're just used to actually hold minion waves, by the way. The portal's not actually used to take turrets. It's used to stall minion waves, and then your minion waves catch up and group up, and then they actually push by itself. So, not really, I think, what was in mind with it. I think it's supposed to be used to kill turrets, but I mean, it's a clever use of how the portal behaves.
31 minutes in, enemy are down about 7,500 gold. That's manifesting in 2 BF items and a Triforce on Youngbin. Some significant damage on Acadian with that Ice Fist, that Iceborne Gauntlet. And 3 core items on Fabi as well. Enemy, however, they've got their core items on the Otter. They can keep them alive. As you mentioned, they just need 6 seconds of uninterrupted damage and they can turn it around. Dragon is spawning. This is number 3 for Liquid, and there's nothing enemy can do to contest it.
Nope, pretty much clearing out minion waves. Minion waves are going to auto-push towards them, mostly due to the fact that TLA, they have all those turrets which buff up the minions, but then they also have such a high average level in comparison to enemy. You look at the level Solution and Nautilus, both a level up, and then Youngbin 2 levels up. Acadian, he was level up before, so basically they're averaging 1 whole level up over enemy's side, with 2 in the mid lane there, so it could be a little bit above 1. And I believe it does actually work in fractions too. So if you're like 1.2 levels higher than the enemy team, then your minions get that bonus times 1.2.
Youngbin is going to dash forward along with this minion wave, looking for the bear inhibitor. Obvious tries to zone him off. However, Liquid are grouped up in that choke. Otter is going to chunk Youngbin down to half with just a few autos.
This is W down.
Oh, snare finds Acadian. Not going to follow up on Smoothie in addition, but Zig in the mid lane, he's taking yet another inhibitor turret. The cross-map pressure, enemy just can't keep up.
Yeah, destroyer of turrets there. Zig, ooh, almost got him. There goes Smoothie.
Wolfie, Otter is going to dodge in the back. He's going to try to turn around. He's got to kite for now as Zig tries to zone him away. He's now fully operational, auto attacks, but he just can't quite get away in. There's the Whimsy. Flash low finds Smoothie. Obvious kites it around. Otter's disrupted. Can he do it? Can he carry his team towards the playoffs? It doesn't look like it. So far, with 1 member dead, Team Liquid are continuing to choke forward.
Yeah, his W cooldown. He's waiting on it. So very low. Kenny, though, does have TP. I don't think it's going to be a TP play.
They managed to hold on. Oh, man, lose that last inhibitor turret. This cross-map pressure.
Yeah, there's the portal.
Enemy have just not been able to deal with it.
Oh, it is so frustrating. I'm getting frustrated watching it. I hate this thing. Kill it.
Yeah.
It was cool like the first time I saw it. Now I see it every game. I'm tilted.
33 minutes in. Liquid continue to turn up the heat onto enemy, but Otter is responding well, building now a Sterix to try to keep himself alive.
Nice flash from Wolfie. They get onto Otter, but he flashes away. He's staying out of depth charge range, and then he turns around, and then he just dishes his damage out onto Zig. He's ate the depth charge, and then the follow-up here, they try to go back in. Smoothie ends up getting stunned and destroyed, and they don't lose anybody. The flash away, the block from Wolfie on that last rocket, which may have killed Trance, is enough there for enemy to take minimal losses. But they're 9,000 gold down, which you saw from that fight. If it's played correctly, Otter, now with his Charm's Fist, so he's looking for some survivability here. Going into Sterix. It'll be harder to kill him, but he still does a boatload of damage.
Yeah, he has got to stay alive if enemy want to have any chance in this. 34 minutes in, Liquid once again activating that cross-map pressure. A new portal has been placed. Banner is on cooldown. That portal placed in the bottom lane. And Zig, he's going to start clearing out some vision while the rest of his team heads top. Once again, trying to pull enemy apart, spread their resources thin, prevent the Kog'Maw from finding that group that he needs.
Exactly. When you are pushing one lane, have your top laner go to the opposite one and place a far up portal. They're actually not stopping the placement of these portals, it's very difficult to actually get these down when you're playing a normal game. But because NME are so far back, they don't have vision coverage of their own jungle, they don't have adequate vision to stop Zig from doing that. And it's definitely costing them. You're seeing all the ground they have to give up, and now the portal's so far out that they don't have coverage to even get the portal. You need to be able to see where TLA is before you go on that mission to kill the structure, or else you get picked off. But Baron's up.
Yeah, enemy have found TLA now, and it's at the Baron pit. Kenny has teleport, but Liquid Academy about to be grouped as 5. Zig, just recalling, has a teleport of his own. 2 minutes before that next dragon, but Baron already getting burned through. Otter's just a little bit late. Trance gets a ward over the wall to see it coming down to half health. There's the teleport from behind for Zig. He's got home guard. Will he find the target he needs? Otter's there. Can they keep Otter alive? Here's Zig with the flank. Otter is the target. He's trying to kite it back as best he can. It's a bounce house. He's knocked from side to side, but he's still alive. There goes Otter's damage. He's shredding through Liquid. Smoothie tries to buy some time, but he's going to pay with his life as he's stunned down. Obvious gets one, but Otter is still alive. Oh, no, he gets bursted by Fabi and Youngbin. They go down, and that's the ace for Liquid Academy. They're going to push forward, and they might be able to end this.
They're going to get at least 2 inhibitors off of that. At the very least. TLA coming up big in this game so far. Early game, they were down. They kept their cool. 30-second death timers here. They may be able to close this game out. You're right, they do have this minion wave on the bot side. They have 30 seconds with these turrets.
Oh, trying to clear the minions as quickly as possible. Liquid looking to take their first win after 5 consecutive losses. Nexus turret 1 goes down. Number 2 follows. Team Liquid Academy are victorious for the first time in 2.5 weeks.
And NME, they don't knock TLA out of playoffs just yet, but they do still stand a chance of getting there themselves. Depends on TLA's performance next week, as well as their own. And also Dream Teams, who are coming up next. But TLA, that was a game where they played from behind at the start. It ended up being a really good game for them, especially up against a Kog'Maw that got first blood. So it ended up being a very rough situation, because I think Otter could have taken over this game. And in that very last fight, that was actually executed extraordinarily well. The knockup came through. It actually hit, I believe, both Wolfie and it hit Otter. And then you saw the package come across. So the package playmaking was picked up right around the time that they were going to start contesting Baron. So good call there from TLA. And despite being a team that's suffering from a lack of decisive voices in that, on that roster, they seemed okay in this game. They need more of that, though, but that was the 6th place team in Challenger.
Yeah, and that has been a really big concern for them. The fact that they were finally able to take their time patiently, slowly but surely. We can take one objective, and then we leave.
Yeah.
Never overextending, never putting too much pressure to let Otter get a chance back into the game. It really speaks to backs against the wall, they can do it.
Yeah, I don't think I said Fabi's name once this game, but he actually had a really good game. He was hanging out in the back, making sure that the Lucian wasn't in range of the Kog'Maw pretty much ever, unless the Kog'Maw was CC'd, and then he would dash in and try to get all of his damage off. So 0 deaths here for both marksmen on the squad for TLA. Both Youngbin and Fabi, exactly the same scoreline. 6 kills, 0 deaths, 10 assists. So TLA, they have had their problems with the decisive voice, but they still remain individually very skilled.
They certainly do. And it's exciting to see them start to come back together after all of the difficulty
Sometimes
they've
come
had
together
with
for
their
the first
roster.
time, too.
Exactly. This might be the chance for us to see the beginning of something new. It just might need that one little push in a forward direction to bring themselves further forward.
Yeah, I think they just need... That's how pushes forward work.
Yes.
It pushes you forward.
It could have been a push backwards.
I love
but
you so much.
The fact that they had their backs against the wall, and then they, instead of crumbling under the pressure, they brought it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we're seeing a diamond forged slowly but surely, and now we've got that little nougat of team play.
Is that what diamonds being forged turn into? They turn into nougats?
The little carrot of the diamond. Follow the analogy, man. Come on, keep up.
Do you have another one? Because you had like 4 there. It's great.
I mean, I can keep trying. It's like Play-Doh. When you got a little ball of Play-Doh and you got to reset it back to its most basic form before you can start turning it into something new.
Do you? I don't know. Sometimes you just, make it into something else. I'm just kidding. Of course.
You don't.
Play-Doh, you want to... Actually, what I want to do is I just want to roll it in the ball because it feels great to roll it into that ball again.
It does.
I don't know if it's necessary, but it feels awesome.
It certainly does. But we've got one more game coming your way right after this break. Prepare yourselves for Dream Team versus Ember. The North American Challenger Series continues after this. I take my Play-Doh, I put it back into a ball when I'm done. I don't leave it in a shape and I start molding it from a shape. You've got Kenny is brought low. He's ignited. He goes down to Smoothie in the long run. Trance is going to end up dying. Body blocking. Smoothie gets brought low. Otter is dropped. They might not have enough damage. Enemy are going to go down here. That's 3 members gone. Obvious kites it around. Otter's disrupted. Can he do it? Can he carry his team towards the playoffs? There goes Otter's damage. He's shredding through Liquid. Smoothie tries to buy some time, but he's going to pay with his life as he's stunned down. Obvious gets one, but Otter is still alive. Oh, no, he gets bursted by Fabian Youngbin. Team Liquid Academy are victorious for the first time in 2.5 weeks.